This is Robert Wolf from Mopar Collector's Guide, reporting from the center of the Mopar world for July of 2021, Chryslers at Carlisle. What a difference a year makes. This time last year, the world was in turmoil. Riots were destroying many beautiful American cities, and the world's governments had the population locked down and locked out of events like car shows. Chryslers at Carlisle fought back and went all the way to court to be able to host a show in 2020. Well, that show was good, as most would expect, because of all the chaos at the time. It was not as good as Carlisle shows of years prior. If you missed my Chryslers at Carlisle 2020 report, be sure to check it out after you watch this one. For 2021, Chryslers at Carlisle returned as strong as it had ever been. If there was any doubt that Carlisle would re-emerge after COVID as the king of the Mopar shows, this year would lay those doubts to rest. The masses returned, swelling the aisles of Carlisle to what felt like bigger than 2019 numbers, and the car count topped 2,800, a new record for the show, and all of that was without any Canadian or overseas patrons. Well, almost none. I ran into one Canadian couple there that told me they had traveled to the border, paid a driver on the American side $1,000 to pick them up and bring them to Carlisle. Now that's wanting to go to a Mopar show really bad. There's no doubt people are really ready to get back to what they love, and this year's Carlisle numbers reflect clearly how much people love going to Carlisle for the Chrysler show. 2021 was an interesting year for me at Carlisle because it showcased several new trends that had not been present before. Now, these trends are not anywhere close to being mainstream yet, but it looks to be ramping up in years to come. On the top of that list was the custom-painted car display Ed B. and Dennis Core assembled as the main attraction in the T-building. For me, this custom paint display was one of the coolest things I've seen in a long time. It brought back what I remember muscle cars being when I was a kid. I will be 55 years old this year, a solid 10 years younger than most of those that have been driving the Mopar collectible world up until now. If you're 65 years old now, then you were 15 years old when muscle cars were new on the car lots. It would only make sense that you guys would want to build muscle cars that are reminiscent of what you saw when you were younger. When I was 15, those very same muscle cars that were new on the lots had been customized with wild paint schemes, 50 series tires, and aftermarket engine parts. Those are my childhood memories of muscle cars. While most saw this display as what happens when you drop a lot of acid and try to paint a car, to me it was an epiphany. This is the ushering in of a new era of Mopar restorations. Not all will be this wild from here on out, but it will be a new era. It will be the childhood memories of those born in the 60s, not the 50s, that will shape the muscle car landscape going forward. Without a doubt, the most significant Mopar at the show this year was the Birdhead Roadrunner. This is the actual press car that was used in the 1970 Roadrunner print ads. The car was almost lost to time before it was rescued from an Indian reservation. Mopar Collector's Guide subscribers can read the whole story in the very next issue of the magazine. Modern new Hemi-motivated Mopars are a dime a dozen these days, but this Bullet movie-inspired 68 Charger stood out from the pack. The car was impeccably crafted, and we will be featuring it alongside a numbers-matching factory 1968 Hemi Charger in an upcoming issue of MCG. Unrestored survivor cars are the darlings of the Mopar collectible world, and rightly so. A car can only be unrestored once. This Hemi Challenger was unearthed mere weeks before the show and was an internet sensation before surprisingly showing up for display. Put away in 1972, this may be one of the most original Hemi Challengers out there, and it's for sale, so if you're looking for one, this one can be yours. If you have to ask the price, don't bother making the phone call. Herb McCandless is a treasure to the Mopar world, as well as his family. Herb has spent his retirement years traveling the country, sharing his vast Mopar racing and building knowledge with the masses. Over the past several years, his son Mike has set out to preserve Herb's storied history as a Soxon Martin team driver, Mopar Parts WD, and all-around nice guy. Mike hired a film crew and put together a video, Mr. 4-Speed, that premiered at the Carlisle event this year. If you had the misfortune of missing that, then I would suggest you go to YouTube and check it out there. Earlier in this video, I talked about spotting trends, and this was a cool one that started to pop up this year that I really hadn't seen before. Younger than usual enthusiasts of 50 vehicles are grabbing them up. Even if they're vintage, trashed out, whatever, they fix them up, put them on the road, and start driving them. The really cool part that I noticed this year, though, was they started buying vintage trailers to take with them where they can camp and hang out. There is nothing cooler than a period-correct trailer for the car towing it. For those of you that have never been to Carlisle, It is important to understand that number one, this is the largest Mopar swap meet found anywhere. You cannot do this show in one day. It takes multiple days of walking to find what you need, so don't show up here on a Saturday and expect that you're going to be done on a Sunday. In addition to a swap meet, Chryslers at Carlisle is the number one attended Mopar show in the world. For those who have been coming here for years, it's a pilgrimage to the crossroads of everything Mopar. Cars, parts, toys, collectibles, tributes, seminars, and best, a reunion with friends, many of which you only see here once a year on the Carlisle Fairgrounds. If you're a business, this should be the first place you come to sell your wares. And if you have a cool car, it's a wonderful place to bring it to try to get it featured in magazines. For in-depth stories on many of the standout Mopars of Chryslers at Carlisle 2021, make sure you have a subscription to the only Mopar magazine that matters, Mopar Collector's Guide. That's a wrap for Carlisle 2021. Next up is the 40th running of the Mopar Nationals in Columbus, Ohio. If you like this video, please take some time to smash the like button below, and if you want to see more videos like this one, hit the follow button. My name is Robert Wolf, reporting from the center of the Mopar world. Until next month, I'll see you in the pages of MCG.